Wander versus Cenobia, the baffling batterer. So, coming out of that labyrinthine arena, this is Cenobia, the second of the bull-sized Colossi. And if Celosia's fight had you scratching your head thinking, what the fuck, then Cenobia is with all that made twice worse. Although calling Cenobia a boss fight might be incorrect, because Cenobia's fight is a puzzle above all else. Which is strange when thinking back to the massive monster fights that characterize this game up till now, but I suppose developers were running out of ideas at this point and decided to just go with whatever they could think of, and what they thought of in this case was putting a Colossus in a Zelda puzzle. See, when you first get into Cenobia's arena, you are probably dumbfounded as to the purpose of the ruined walls, canals running everywhere, and broken columns that pepper the location like optional side missions in any of your favorite sandbox games. Then you actually find Cenobia. See, now he is ticked off that you wandered in here, Wanderer. And I can't blame him. I mean, look at your track record. 13 of 16 Colossi dead. Anyway, Cenobia is now going to eat you if you don't get out of the way, and this is how you're going to start your initial encounter with this guy. All you really know starting out is that, like a bull, he has a one-track mind with the only objective of getting his shield face on your ass. Eventually you'll start looking around because Cenobia's armor, like Celosia's, is about as impenetrable as a pickle jar, so you need to locate the key to his demise quickly before you're stun-locked in the canals or in some sort of other corner. Another time and a half passes, and you find that you can climb onto the shorter fallen masonry eventually in order to start avoiding his attacks, but Cenobia is not a complete moron and starts using his ram attacks to try and knock you off of your high perch and go back to assaulting you unabated. See, this is where the puzzle starts to kick in, because you need to start using Cenobia to begin manipulating the arena around both of you to your advantage. All the while, the huge annoyance of this fight is that your walking space while above the battlefield is about this long. And that means if Cenobia hits its mark, then you have a high chance of falling onto your face, which then Cenobia will easily stunlock you again, requiring you to do all of that climbing all over again. And if this happens further out, then the time it takes to continue just gets longer and longer. It's an exponentially rising infuriation, which only gets worse with every failure giving Cenobia a free shot at your crumpled form. However, all of the confusing level design and infuriations of this fight eventually have a point, just like any other Zelda puzzle that has this fight's mentor. At the end of the balanced beam of atrocity that you become life or death friends with, you get into a room with a huge boulder on top of it and a support rope down below. Cenobia knocks the boulder onto itself and reveals its weak spot, and with fallen columns in the room as well, it's just a trivial pursuit that allows a swift defeat of this rage-producing beast that's been dogging you constantly for the last half hour. Thankfully, getting the actual shot in on this bull is about 3 times as easier as Celosia. The satisfying death scene followed by Wander getting killed will put you in the good mood to get you up to the 15th giant bastard, but anyway, with Catharsis making us feel great achievement, let's turn our heads to the scoreboard, because I'm gonna throw some numbers on it. Gameplay. Cenobia in this sense isn't a traditional boss fight, but instead a giant form of a Zelda puzzle in that you have to manipulate your foe in order to move around stationary objects in order to reach a final objective in a way that has you constantly assail, making you constantly think. You need to keep on your toes because Cenobia is always after you. Adjusting movements adds another aspect and annoyance to this fight as it drags out for so long. Using this environment to your advantage in order to get the ultimate reward of revealing the weak spot is what this fight is all about, because the combat is as easy as chopping firewood with a triple-bladed chainsaw. Overall, it combines a small bit of intense move-by-move combat with avoiding Cenobia, and the dungeoneering skills of Zelda by moving platforms and such in correct places to move forward, and in this category it deserves a decent score of 7 Triforces. Story. Cenobia at this point, if connected to the outside world, actually comes across scared more than anything. The fear that the person in front of it has murdered 13 of its friends has led to Cenobia breaking with all logic out of panic, and is now in an emotionally induced rage which led to the one-track mind thing smashing itself into anything in order to get to the target. However, this leads to the ultimate demise by knocking out the boulder that was the only thing in the place that could have sliced off its back armor and led to the final kill. However, all of this isn't concrete from the plot and was put together by me, so that loses Cenobia major points in story. But I will give it 5 1/3 Triforces for having a blurry sense of depth, which Barba really can't substantiate to have. Fun. Cenobia, rather than being an intense Colossus battle where every move counts, is more conniving and thoughtful, with the first move being a small detail easily missed in this ruined building complex, leading to the fun of a huge puzzle setup, leading into a wholeheartedly meh effort that ends in the final killing blow. Cenobia's fight is all around a bit stodgy when all of the work necessary for victory being above the battlefield, giving the sense of disconnect from the one-on-one reality that characterized most of the other bosses such as Avion and Gaius. But it has fun in a different way, being a completely unique fight all over again. And it's just outstanding enough to warrant a good 7 Triforces once again. There's good fun to be had in this boss fight. Overall, I consider Cenobia as a pretty polarizing boss. The ones who like the puzzling aspect could have fun with this, while others could argue that the disconnect from what the game usually offers might turn them off, leading to a cavalcade of complete annoyance, leading to an overall pathetic attempt as the boss was turned into a mewling little puppy dog right after the boulder fell on it. But you have to judge as a broad perspective, or else your opinion is completely one-sided. And in these polarizing cases, you do have to consider the other side's argument in order to get the full picture. What Cenobia's fight tried to do ultimately worked. The first step could have been highlighted a little more, but it's definitely worth the effort, and I'll give Cenobia a final score of 19 1/3 Triforces. A little more than 50% is definitely deserved for this boss fight. Okay, well thanks again for watching, hope to see you around, and finally I'll get that victory for gamers in.